It worked.
We fought a battle. We fought a battle in the province lagoon and came out ahead. Uh, Came back to port, and Captain Hawks agreed that he was going to get you guys on the good side of the city, whatever that took. And he decided he's going to go and hold a city council meeting the next day at midday. So you guys take your long rests, and each of you have very curious dreams. Tulu awakes on the shoreline next to the ships. Feghrin awakes, uh, coughing on his friend's smoke. Tulu awakes, or Kulroki awakes, and Floki awake, and very curious things are on their minds. And I think everyone just kind of meets up and decides that let's just accept it for what it was, and we'll go when we have a city to find out what's going on and to decide what our next move is. So you guys start heading out, thinking, hey, let's find Captain Hawks. He's like our one good connection now. Go to his office. He's not there. Have a very long discussion with Valcrone. He originally did not like you guys. Thought you guys were setting up some type of coup or were behind the whole invasion to begin with.
He's got us figured out.
But slowly and surely, you guys have convinced him that you had good intentions, and then he left suddenly in a hurry to do something, and then you guys stood awkwardly there for a little while before finally Kulroki and Floki decide to head down to the Stumbling Tump to get some drinks and talk to Sephiroth. After that, I believe we reconvene at the Twilight's Revenge, which is where we are starting today.
Good news, everyone.
What
I,
what news have you, Floki?
I have some degree of accidentally found us a new recruit.
Aye.
Do you remember Sephiroth?
Why, of course I remember several.
He may be interested in physically relocating to a ship.
Right. Floki, isn't he a bit gooey for that?
Ships are pretty moist in my experience.
Aye. Well, he
I
seems
mean,
like...
I haven't, no paperwork's been signed. I don't have negotiating authority, but I floated the idea to him. He was amenable. If we want to have a wise slime monster in the hold of a ship, it's an option.
What kind of company doesn't have a wise slime monster in the hold of their ship?
Disinteresting ones, that's what.
Yeah, boring ones. Ones that don't go on adventures.
Well, he seems like a good person to me. By the accords, we might need consent of the crew officers. And we keep no
Well-
secrets among each other.
Captain, if I had to put my 2 cents in, I would not like to afford
where did you come from?
I've been here the whole time.
Gods!
But yeah, speaking of adventures, guys, I think I'm gonna go look out at the glade, check out the double fruits, and with that, he hops on his little shepherd's crook and takes off as Tulu goes to scout ahead. There you guys.
Okay, bye, Tulu.
Bye, Tulu.
Bye, Tulu.
Well,
All right, time to leave the island.
oh really? Do you want to go straight for Splinter Dish?
Well, I mean, that's an option. I was going for like
I
comedic
think
timing that didn't land, but
I think it is more.
It was
going for the-
funny, but I'm more afraid than amused. I suddenly actually want the like chaotic pixie gnome of death on my side if I go there.
All right, I
atomic
wasn't.
pixie.
Yeah, I mean that's whatever you wanna, do. We've got options. We could head on over to the Splinter Dish and start chugging away at that, but we probably can't. Oh, I did get the location of the thread narrowed down, but we lack diving ability now that Tulu's left us. And we could go after the double fruits, but we lost druid ability now that Tulu's left us.
I'm starting to see just what an incredible officer of our fleet he was, really.
He's certainly an incredible something. Yeah,
Indispensable, really. Well,
very dispensable.
is Kulroki nearby? Like, where are we right here? We're all.
I mean,
like,
I'm
we're
assuming, talking together. We're maybe not huddled, but we're just talking.
He's
to
kind of
each
like a
other.
feet or two above us. He's got some got some height to him, but otherwise.
I don't think I'm quite that much taller, but yeah, I'm a little keeping eye over top of y'all.
Well, we're pirates. We don't exactly have good nutrition, so
Everyone's slouching.
shorter than the average man.
Master Valcrone. I think we should wait until Captain Tulu returns. But Master Valcrone, he said that the plague burners of the Church of Targoa were sent to Splinter Dish. Perhaps we could prepare for our arrival into Splinter Dish by learning a bit more. Seems they might know something.
Oh, do you think they have an office here?
Well, who are we friends with here? Well, we could go talk to,
We did send the crew out to gather rumors and information for plural days. We could ask them if they've seen a Church of Targoa in the area.
staff meeting then. So we get like all the
All right.
ship's officers in the
We're gonna
cramped.
abruptly adjourn this staff meeting to conduct a different staff meeting.
Kulroki groans when he hears the mention of another staff meeting. He's just like,
This is exactly what the real Navy's like. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling real sailor vibes.
This staff meeting could have been an email.
When you assemble your staff meeting, things that you learn are Quintro brings forth information that there are rumors of necromancy being performed in Mudport. But he also thinks that, like, through his interrogations and like through his casual conversations with the people of the city, that there is like a tie of like a cultural dislike between the people of Mudport and the people of the city, because there's like people of Mudport are physically dirty, thus they must be spiritually dirty. So he thinks that the rumors are kind of contrived from that, but he's certain. He just heard that.
And Deepstone, Mudport and Deepstone, like people in
Yeah.
Deepstone look down on the people of Mudport because they're dirty.
Yep.
That's not racist. All right, go ahead.
That's kind of the city's work.
It is.
Linzu says that he heard there is a Coven of Cards gambling house near the end of Oddity Alley that's really popular amongst most of the dwarvish people. You know, you've seen that dwarves were part of the attack. Maybe you could find more information there.
Who said that?
Linzu.
Okay.
So I don't know how trustworthy Lindsay is, but that's what he says.
I trust him with my life.
Doro says that
Also trust him with your life.
near the kiosks at the end of the Oddity Alley, there is also a fairly popular gnome who is a keysmith. And his name is Farrar Pimplebottom.
That's an unfortunate name.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Hopefully, it's
Who
inherited and not earned.
who came up with that? Or I'm sorry, the
Doros,
Doros.
your Triton cleric.
Wow. A keysmith.
That's most of the big information. I think most of the smaller stuff that you guys gathered is stuff that you already know from being around the town.
Did anyone spot a church of Targoa?
Swipes actually speaks up and he says, "Don't know about no Targoa, but there is a temple in town called the Temple of Oriarch." And he gets some creepy vibes as he walks by.
We could always do a walk by of it. I can use my spider senses.
Yeah, we happen to know someone who knows a little bit about being in a creepy cult. I'm sure we could check it out.
Aye. Well, listen, everyone. You've done well. For now, let's take the rest we need. Keep doing shifts. Have the crew rotate shifts of guards. On your time off, enjoy Deepstone. Play some of these cards, if you will. Might find out some more things. We'll find our next bounty of treasure soon. And I look to Floki and Kulroki, and I like kind of look pensive, and then I look back and I say, we might be having a new crewmate soon. We're not quite sure what ship he'll be on. Probably the Twilight's Revenge for his quarters. He's a bit different, but he's proven himself reliable and useful and would make a fine officer.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check for the general consensus of how the crew feels about this information. Good thing you have a buff chest at.
Good thing what?
You have advantage because you're coat.
Oh, okay. Let me see what else I get then. Okay, I got and this is not, my charisma's higher than that. I have like a +5 or something, but 17 anyway. I don't have my sheet because I had turned my computer in, unfortunately.
Okay. 17, you hear a few groans, but everyone kind of just nods along.
I look at everybody and I'm like, speak your mind.
They all kind of look at each other, and then finally, like pushed out of the crowd. Aiden gets pushed forward, the dark elf. He goes, "Captain, some of us don't know each other very well, and the more people we keep adding is messing with our chemistry. We're kind of having a hard time sorting things out anytime we step away. In fact, these leaves have been really nice to get away from each other, and I don't really know if that's a good thing as far as crews are concerned."
Aye. Thank you, Aiden. It's true. It's hard you begin to work together as a crew. You know one another, and you know when a person's on one part of the ship doing something, the other, that person, you're one thing when you're a crew and you're together. And well, we don't have that yet, and we'll have to work toward it. We do need more crew members. But I expect you to let me know if there are any problems. Every person in the Accords is here by his own will.
They just kind of like look at each other and kind of nod. Aiden kind of like tries to slump himself back into the crowd.
It doesn't fit.
Like like Dorful kind of like leans up against Swipes, and they kind of like block him out so he can't get back in yet. Yeah, so like you get this basically opinion from them that as a group that they're kind of having a hard time getting together as a group because they have all these different backgrounds and you know So some of them are different races and stuff, and I think they're just concerned that more chaos is going to be make it not as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
There's a good time to ask a silly question. How many decks does the Twilight's Revenge have?
Cloud's Revenge has 3 decks. You have top deck, which is your main deck. You have your second deck, which is your living quarters and your storage space. And then you have your third deck, which is your bilge, which is basically holds a bunch of water that works as a counterweight so you don't get tipped over.
Mm,
Man, you know
my
so much
thought
about
just
boats now.
my thought just kind of like spitballing here, pun intended. Was perhaps Sephiroth might find it agreeable to be in the bilge. If we were to do something, I think turning that into a little lair for him I don't know, maybe he'd find that agreeable. Maybe that's something to discuss. Um, oh, that's right. He wanted us. He also wanted us to send our gusto over to him so they could chat it out. We should probably do that before we go attack pirates somewhere.
I don't know that most people would consider it any noble thing to be used as a ballast, but of course he is used for quite a few other things, and there is that little problem of anyone looking at him losing their minds too, so that's not a bad idea.
You hear like some gasps and confusion come from the group around you.
Okay, so why don't we go to Augusto first, right?
Okay.
Is that where's the temple in town? Swipes? Is it like on the near side of?
It's not far from the tree.
Okay, so there's the tree, which is like. It's funny how actually I'm gonna draw it. I got a thing I can draw with.
I think
I can draw.
everything's near the tree.
I make it like this. Okay, so this is what I imagine it looks like, right? Like here's the harbor and stuff, and then we've got like this harbor stuff with municipalities and like a harbor office, and then there's
Now
like
we're-
this alley of like grungy, not nice things where the people sell like it's like a flea market where people sell crap.
If I could like just interject for a moment, paint a verbal picture. We're all at the side on the docks at the side of the Twilight's Revenge, and Feghrin has like a little paint set out and is drawing this on the side of the ship.
There's the tree
Yeah.
tavern. It's a thing, and then this is like the nicer part of town, as my understanding. And I get like there's like nice stuff here, and then you get up into the farms. Like after you get past here, there's like farms and stuff.
Actually, it looks a little more like this because your farms are over here, and this kind of goes out like that. Like all of this kind of like region, and the glades are like somewhere over there. All right, and then you have this right here is like a cliff ridge that kind of comes this way, and then there's like mountains here. All right. So the city is like kind of built into it. So this is Oddity Alley right here, where you kind of drew the tree. But then there's like this alcove of larger buildings kind of here, and then over here is where you met Music and Sandler and Jorn and like all those peddlers, like the little kiosks and stuff. And that's where the keysmith is in that little area there.
Oh, is
Uh,
Oddity Alley the nice part of town? Like the part that
Oddity
has
Alley is where all the bizarre magical shit is,
yeah,
and then
the nice part.
then you
of town.
have well, I mean, depends on how you look at it, because then there's like
I think
this
it
whole
does.
region of residencies over here that have like, and like the further this direction you go, the nicer the buildings get. So like there's like some larger almost palaces over this way.
All right.
And then Hawks's office is like somewhere like here. Make sense?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll we'll take we'll take the ourselves and go first to our gusto because temple's near the tree, right? And we need to tell Augusto to do the thing. And while we're going, when I look at Kulroki, does he have any tattoos?
Kulroki, do you have any tattoos?
No.
We will change that within 24 hours.
I lean over to Floki and I'm like, Captain Floki, yeah, have you ever seen one of his kind? Like a
Lizard folk?
I don't think he's a lizard folk. I think he's made that rather clear by now.
I mean, he says that, but like the scales are pretty.
Well, more importantly, how do you?
Clue is totally giving Floki a death glare at this
You
point.
can't hear
Like,
this.
he's
You
like,
can't hear this.
Oh, okay. So I'm
It's such
like,
a stage whisper, he can totally hear this.
Yeah, I feel like I can hear it.
How would you put a tattoo on that? You know what I mean?
Oh well, that's pretty easy. It's well, I mean, it's not easy, but it's a little easier than skin. With skin, you've got to like get the the needle, and you got to get under the skin and the ink, and then the ink kind of spreads itself out a bit. The scales are a lot easier. You just need to basically dye them. They're not sort of organic mass with blood flow and everything. So it's just a permanent marker is what I'm saying. You use permanent marker.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound too bad. Kulroki, and I put my arm around him. I'm like, Kulroki, we need
No.
some more.
No.
Okay, yes, all right. And go back to walking towards
and then he turns to. So did he or did he not hear Floki's comment? I just
You heard all of it.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I heard all that. I'm just like I am 100% a Dragonborn. I don't know.
I believe you.
You obviously don't.
It's just listen. It's nothing personal.
It sounds
It's
very
just
personal.
that's no. It's not personal at all. It's just that's not a real thing.
Say what?
Dragonborn. You're just like you're a lizard, man. You gotta listen. You gotta come to terms with it. I know it doesn't sound as cool as Dragonborn, but it's what you got going on.
Loki, I'd like you to make an insight check real fast.
All right, I'm very insightful.
It sort of sounds
I'm
like you're
sometimes insightful.
telling him what his people are, and I'm uncomfortable with this.
I'm making no observations
Would like to
about
throw
people's.
Floki into the harbor.
I am buoyant.
He does swim well. I've seen this.
I don't care if he swims well. I just want to throw him in the harbor.
Loki, you feel a very strong warmth come from your pocket where you have your mythic shard.
Oh, interesting. I'll palm it really quickly and make sure that no one's attacking me.
You hear a faint whisper that says, "Watch yourself." And that's all it is. And you would have known it to be the voice of Sai.
Oh. I look around suddenly paranoidly.
All right, make a perception check as you look around frantically.
Perceiving. 10.
As you look around, it's hard to see past the death glare of Kulroki.
Listen, Kuroki, I want to. You might get me killed accidentally.
Okay.
I feel like you'd be less okay with that than killing me intentionally. And so I'd just like you to keep it in
It's kind
mind.
of a coin to us.
What's the weather like today?
It's actually pretty clear today. It's a little warm, but there's a really cool breeze.
Warm but a cool breeze. So it sounds like a cold front. As the pressure gradient's changed here. Winds are up, sun's up, temperature's increasing. So, okay, yes, that makes sense. That means that tomorrow would be a good day to sail.
Oh, what do you know?
Anyways,
That would be auspicious.
are we at Augusta's place yet?
Oh yeah, I think
Okay.
you guys like had this conversation as you meet the door. Bobbles, bobbles.
Baubles. That's right. Does he have a bell or like just knock, or is it open, or
There's a bell
so?
over the door, but yeah, it says open on the sign.
Okay, I
I'll lean against the door outside, just not really wanting to go in.
oh,
Okay.
So yeah. So he's just like he's just like chilling outside. He's just like I don't need to go back in there. And just like chilling outside.
okay. I go, hello there.
As you open the door, you walk in. You can see Argusto, this elderly lizardborn, wearing his glasses that sit at the bridge of his snout as he is holding one of these orbs in front of this halfling woman who is wearing this bright yellow dress that has this like red ribbon sash tied around her waist. And he goes, "It's quite easy. You just hold it and you think about it, focus, and you will see what it is." And she takes it in her hands with this satin cloth between her hands and the orb. And she closes her eyes for a moment, and the orb begins to glow. And then it turns, and each of you can see this face of an elvenly figure, and she grins from ear to ear, and you see a single tear in her eye. She goes, "It's him. It really is him." He goes, "Yes, that's all it is." And she goes, How much is it?" He goes, "Be 30 gold." "I only have 12." "Well, yeah, that'll do." He takes it and puts it away. She folds it up, and holds it close to her as she sees you guys. She kind of waves and kind of ducks between your legs. She makes it outside. Hello. Uh, can I help you? Looking for
Hello,
anything interesting?
Augusto. I wanted to ask you. And
Yes.
I'd like to walk up to him, sort of lean over the desk and say, "Have you ever heard of Dragonborn?"
A dragonborn. Dragonborn. Well, I suppose I have. I've never seen one, but there are rumors of folk of descents of dragons, and the Silver Moon Emperor and folks like that. They have these tendencies to appear, well, quite like myself, but much larger. I've heard they have much more spirit than us lizard folk.
Interesting.
Uh,
Are you
what?
saying that the Silver Moon Emperor is one of these Dragonborn?
Well, uh, he's quite larger than that. He's a Silver Moon Emperor. He's Norkazor. He's actually a dragon himself. Quite
Oh.
large, in fact. Yes.
That's not good. Well then.
They don't call them an emperor for show. It's a title. Is that all you came here for? Or is,
No, I was here to pass on a message from Severo.
Oh,
Yes,
Severo.
he was interested in meeting up with you, catching up sometime. If you'd be
Yeah.
I
Here,
know
nice.
over at his place actually. He seems to be decidedly immobile. So,
Where would his place be exactly?
you know the tumbling stump, the
Yes,
inn
yes.
bar.
Opal's Tavern. Yes.
Yeah, he's up there in the attic. Just need to head up the stairs there.
Oh, he's been that close this whole time.
I don't know how long he's been there, but he's been there for a little while, and he'd like to see you.
Very well. If you don't mind, you could let him know I'll be there at tonight after I close my shop.
Oh, all right. All right, I think that's all for
Wait,
me.
wait. Actually, it's been so long. I think I'd rather surprise him if you don't mind.
Oh, that'd be perfectly convenient for me, to be honest. We have some errands we need to get running here. So
Oh, is that so?
He begins to start polishing one of the orbs on his counter.
yeah, we're busy beavers.
You might
Hey,
want
none of
to
those
let
orbs.
the innkeep know of your intentions, though, because he's a little protective of his friend Severo. So
Well, I would imagine I've been there countless times, and he's never once mentioned that Sephiroth was up there.
He's pretty secretive about it. Anyway, that's these orbs here. None of them happen to be mythic shards, are they?
Uh,
He like begins to start focusing and looking at his orbs, and he like starts counting them, and he's like, oh. He like shakes one, and it's just like a hollow glass bauble, and he like shakes it, and he's like,
no, I believe I sold my last one 3 years ago. Sorry.
Ah, that's tragic.
Are you out to collect them?
Yeah, if I'm in the market, you could say. Do you happen to know the whereabouts of any?
Oh, well, there's of course the famous Sheesh on Lucerna, but there are others, yes. I believe there's a large collection on Lambu. McCroy family sold off a lot of them there. They're not all that fancy, though. Some of them are quite modest. In fact, some of them are simply used as replacements for torches and lanterns and stuff like that. Honestly, it's not wrong to mistaken any of these for one, or vice versa. They're quite similar.
Fascinating. Anyway, I think that's all for me here.
All right, and what have you?
oh, it's good to see you again, Augusto.
Yes.
Well,
he just kind of like pauses, and you notice a moment of awkward
It's-
hesitation.
it's-
He's like,
but,
it's
the
like-
name was it's Feghrin. We met a few days ago, but I'm sure you.
he reaches forward to shake your hand, and he locks eyes with you, and he goes,
Oh, you're the fair harbor. Oh, you are. Oh, sorry. My mind often wanders, and I forget things. But I can't believe I forgot the face of the fair harbor. If there's anything else I could do for you, please don't hesitate.
Well, we could use any help we can get on information. You know, after we spoke, we had talked about the days of the Free Isles and your family and the different houses, and well, we'd spoke to Sephiro about that, and you should know that. Have you heard about the battle that was in the harbor in the bay just yesterday?
Oh, yes, I heard it. There's quite a few casualties of the city.
Aye. We drove right for the pirate flagship. Turns out that it was a group of pirates are forming a conglomeration. Threatens the whole city and the island.
Should I pack my things and leave?
I don't think there's anywhere I know that's safe to go, not in these waters. Well, anyways, we're hoping to make a difference. So information is always helpful. Let's see. What was I going to ask?
Is anyone
The
else
temple.
dragons that we should know about?
Well, there were quite a few back in the War of 80s, but they've mostly been leaving. Ever since Norkazork cast out Size High and the other Emberstones were lost, it seemed that they lost their interest in being our allies and guardians and protectors. There are very few remaining.
Oh, so they used to help the cities of the Free Isles then, in the past.
Most of them governed them, yes. The Cricketish ran things here in Ukashe for quite some time, but youngest of the bunch, he was the first to leave. You know, those fancy mid-century ages, always want to go out and explore.
What was his name again? The dragon?
Cricketish.
No, the young one.
Yeah, Cricketish.
No, the other one.
Cricketish.
Okay.
It's the only name he's dropped so far.
Okay.
Oh, there was also Norkazord. The
Oh, Norkazor is the Single Moon Emperor, yeah.
Oh. Interesting. So, these are all dragons. Used to govern the Isles. Cricketish used to govern this island. I had some friends that met him once. Have you ever met him?
I once was at a council, but I never spoke to him.
Aye. And then the Silver Moon Emperor is Norkazorg. He's this, the leader of this federation. Is that right?
No. In fact, I think he's the largest thorn in the Federation's side. Sort of, occupies the island, but, most people try to ignore him. The law books say that, House McCroy is legally in charge, but I think everyone knows deep down that Norkazor's still there.
Well, you know, it's nice just to talk to someone about the history of the place. It's very interesting. Yeah, what would you say is the best place to get to? And I like Feghrin like rolls up his arms. He's been a sailor for a long time, so I'd imagine he's got tattoos.
And a lot of them are probably faded,
Yeah,
like sun faded away,
yeah.
and maybe some of them are like poor cover-ups. You know what I mean? Like he's got like some of them that like don't quite cover.
Oh,
like,
this is really heartbreaking. He's got like tattooed like the name of a ship or crew, and it's had to been like marked over where it's and then yeah.
especially from like his earlier years too. He takes a moment, like an awkward pause that feels like it's taken forever to figure out what you're implying, and then he kind of figures it out, and he's like,
Oh, yeah, there are no establishments here in the city, but there are more, how do I put this, rambunctious groups over in Mudport that could help you freshen those up, I suppose.
I never had any yourself then.
Oh, once, yes, when I was a wee lad, but those scales have shedded off long ago.
Aye, and did you like it back then? Was it a nice tattoo?
Oh, yes.
Aye. Do you hear that? Ah, yes, Augusto, that was a really nice tattoo you had. And its scales just fell off anyways.
Kulroki he grunts, but he doesn't give any other response than that. He's just like, nah.
"Yeah, Kulroki, as you're standing outside, there are a couple half-naked children that have been like staring at you from across the street. They're like hiding behind some crates, but you can clearly see them, and they're just like staring at you in awe."
I like crouch down and just like wave to them.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh no, he's attacking.
So it's my persuasion. It should be kind of high. Plus 3. Dirty 20.
One of them throws a rubber ball to you, and it like stops halfway in the middle of the street.
I go over, I pick up the ball, and I toss it back to them.
As you do, you throw it. I'd like you to make an athletics check because this is actually like a busy street.
Okay.
There are like people like walking up and down the
If you
road.
roll really high, you just knock someone out.
8.
8. You throw it. It lands a couple feet in front of them, and then it gets kicked by someone else. The little halflings like peek their little head over, and you can see like one of them begins to tear up a little bit.
Can I go like track down this rubber ball?
Yes, you can. So as you're going, you can make a perception check first. See if you can find it.
Okay. Perception. 18.
18. You do find it. You find it at the base of this melon cart. There's like a cart of melons outside of this building called the Kettle's Cry. And you can see there's like this merchant that is selling the owner of the store a bunch of melons, and the little cart is the little ball is at the wheel of the cart.
Yeah, I've just been down, pick up the little ball, and just like walk back and hand it to the kids, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm not very good with throwing stuff.
You hand it to them, and they just immediately take off running. And they get to the other end of the alley, and then the little one turns back to you and smiles and waves, and then they run around the corner.
I go back to the door with a big smile on my face.
I turn to I see that and I turn back to the shopkeeper and then Floki and I'm like, he's ready. He wants one.
Remember, the most important thing about tattoos is it doesn't matter whether you like the tattoo you get or whether you want the tattoo you get. It just matters that you have the support of your friends and potentially some rope.
Say what?
You're playing with children.
Well, Augusto, it is a pleasure getting to see you again. We'll stop by again soon. Take care of yourself. Be careful, please.
I'll try.
And don't forget to meet up with Sephiroth.
Oh yes.
He
Write that down somewhere.
Yeah, he does. That's exactly
This
what
dude
he
is
does.
totally going to forget.
He goes and he writes a note to himself.
Yeah, we're attempting to reconnect two elderly people, and it's like, man, it's just dice rolls all the way down. All right, we're gonna meet up with a locksmith then, or something.
We were going to go to
I
the
don't remember.
temple.
That's right, the temple. Yes, take me to church. All right, lead the way, Kulroki.
I go in the direction I think the church is in.
Yeah, it's not hard to find. I think with the vague directions that Swipes gave you, once you pass the tumbling stump, there is a clear chapel, like with a steeple that kind of sticks up, and it's like most of these buildings are carved out of this white limestone, of like limestone-ish substance that the whole city is kind of carved out of. Like this, the whole city is carved out of this one mountain, so it's kind of like all unison. But this building kind of sticks out because it has been like polished. It is like everything around here is like dwarvish in architecture, but this building, it does stand out because it's like obviously been well taken care of more than the rest of them. Like other buildings have like paint faded or general wear and tear, but this building here seems to be preserved. And like the main what from what you can see from the main street is a large set of double doors that are wooden, painted bright red, and above it is a circular stained glass window, and there is a building flush against it on the right hand side, which would be Beauty by the Bird's Eye, and then there's an alleyway on the other side.
Does this church look open?
The doors are closed.
No.
But
That's not good. You know what
With
they
that-
say about people who go through red doors?
I don't
No,
know.
what do they say?
Ah, yes, that's right. Anyone who goes through Red Door is always on the other side. I always wondered what that meant.
It means they die. It's, the other side.
Oh,
Yeah, they're very dangerous. It's like, don't go in me. It's a door's natural way of warding off predators.
that
I
is
didn't know
usually-
doors had many predators.
Well, that is my understanding of how doors work. But, you know what
Be
else you
surprised.
can do?
Doors are a lot of clams. Everyone just kind of wants to open them up and get at what's inside.
I go up to the door and I knock on it.
Isn't that the purpose of a door to do that?
It's the
When you
purpose of a
knock-
clam to eat it. It's still got to defend itself against predators.
But okay, whatever.
When you knock on the door, you hear a shuffling and a pause, and then the door opens just a crack, and you can see the chain kind of dangle from the inside, and you can see an elvish eye peering through. Just, yes, can we help you?
Hello there. My name's Feghrin, and these are my colleagues. We're not from here, and we're interested in temple services.
One moment. As the door closes, you hear clinking, and the double doors open. You can see this very pale elf who stands just a couple inches taller than Kulroki, wearing this bright white robe with this crimson filigree across the lapel, who has a candlestick which is not lit but like fresh. Like I guess they didn't assume to look outside and see how dark it was or whatever. They brought a candlestick with them. And as they welcome you inside, it says, "I am Tarvan. What services are you looking for? Are we doing blessings, healings? Are you friends with the plague burners? We were not. Who did you say you were, Feghrin?
My name's Feghrin. I am the master and proprietor of a merchant company. And, we had rough seas on the way here, so we've set harbor here in town for a while. And we've got several crew members, and so we're making our way about town and learning about the city and all of Deepstone, and most importantly, wanted to know what temple services were available. And I look around. Is the iconography familiar to me? The hagiography.
As you look around, what you can see are two sets of 8 rows of pews that are wooden, and you can see an altar with several vases and pots that are each empty but like available for like offerings, I suppose. And above it, you can see this large shrine. You can give me each of you can give me a religion check and try to figure out what it is.
Can you also describe it and see if I know what it is?
Yeah, so it starts out I'm describing general shapes, so bear with me, but it starts out as a cylinder that kind of comes off into a crescent shape. And there are these 3 long rods that come out of it. And then there is a mirroring crescent shape that kind of comes back down. And then there are rows of spikes across the top of it.
A claw.
Spikes, crescent shape.
I got a 9.
Let me think
I got
first. I want to try.
18.
I'll roll if I can. Let me think it.
Also, I'd like to use my divine sense once we're inside.
Okay.
It's a cylinder with a crescent and then spikes. Is that right?
rods, then a mirroring crescent, and spikes on top.
Would that be something like Diceseer?
Yeah, yeah, that would be.
Because of
I think
like the sky and fire and stuff?
yeah, it's Dice's series I, also known as his harp. It's like both of those symbols, like over time, got converged into a single symbol that doesn't really resemble either
Harp too.
anymore.
Okay.
But it's a sign of both lust, but also passion and like beauty and witnessing beauty, and like it's kind of like all these things combined to become this cultural symbol that would mean nothing to anyone who doesn't know it.
But they called it Ararak? I wouldn't. Feghrin wouldn't know that. Okay,
Oh,
so he
it
would
would
put
be it'd be Auriac.
Auriak.
Or Oriarch. Oriarch. Oriarch.
Then Feghrin would be dumb about it and just say, "This is your servants of Diceseer."
Oh yes, you're one of the Everburning as well. Welcome. Feel free to.
Oh no, I'm not. But I've met some people that are interested in these things. We've seen some sights in our travels. But I don't want to mislead you. But why would you think that we're here on behalf of the oh crap, the plague burners?
Well, honestly, with the attack yesterday, I didn't know who else would be here. Especially midday. Most of our services happen either at dawn or dusk. That's why the door was closed. With the attacks yesterday, we took all precautions to ensure our safety. Um, Kulroki, as you use Divine Sense, you don't really sense anything at all from this room, which you would know as kind of like a red flag for something that to be like a holy altar and there's no energy at all. But you do feel this absence of presence that kind of makes you feel funny in a weird way.
I start giving Feghrin side eyes.
I well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and it's good to know that your services are around sunrise and sunset. Perhaps our crew members could come and participate and be a patron of the temple sometime.
That would be wonderful. Here, please take these.
He bends over and like there's just, like this little bench where he's got this like stack of pamphlets and he like grabs a couple of them. And he flips through a couple of them and finds a few that are like more neat and pressed and clean from the center of the stack. And he hands them to you and says, once the eye is lit, then all are welcome here. And like you look now up at this spherical stained glass window, and you like once the light from the sun hits the altar, then that's kind of like when they do their things.
Aye, good to know. And I look back to Kulroki to kind of take, like, what, follow his lead.
I mean, I just like once we're done talking, I just kind of like because I don't want to talk about this in front of him. Just kind of like walk out into the down the road a little bit, definitely out of earshot and probably out of eye shot as well. Um, and then I turn to Feghrin and I'm like, they're hiding something. Because I couldn't sense any presence there, evil or good. And if they're claiming to be the temple of God and there's no presence of God there, they're either hiding it or something's wrong.
Or front. Captain Hawks warned us that this city was rotten.
Hey, when those two depart, could I stay behind with the priestly guy?
Yeah, if you want to.
Right. Hey, you You mentioned the plague burners.
Yes.
You're familiar with them. We heard that there was some kind of a kerfuffle over at Splinter Dish. Do you happen to know anything about that? Their operations there?
I've learned that there is a great sickness that can be treated with fire and flame. Um, that is all I know on the matter. I try not to worry myself with things beyond the city. There's plenty to be frantic about at the moment, especially with the attack just yesterday.
And when you say that it can be cured with fire and flame, do you mean like cured with fire and flame, or do you mean like cured with fire and flame?
I'm uncertain of what your cadence means, but I would assume both.
All right. Good to know. Well, thank you for your time. We'll hope to see you again soon. And I'll finger pistols my way out of the room.
They try to follow you as you're walking out when try to hand you another pamphlet.
I'll take the pamphlet because I'm a bitch.
But yeah, because that's what you were trying to tell me, Jake, was that basically I was sensing a lack of. I wasn't sensing anything to be quite honest. Is there is a
Right.
disturbing lack of something, which is unusual for a temple
Yep.
to have no sense.
I can hear you.
Testing,
Yes.
testing.
This is interesting. I'd assume that a temple would either be pretty good or like there'd be something real sinister going on, but just like,
There's
just
nothing. There was
just
nothing
hanging
going
out.
on there. That was an empty church.
Do any of you look at the pamphlets?
I'll look at the
I mean,
pamphlet.
I look at it. I look at
I
mine.
like to
It
read
was like-
documents.
All right. The pamphlet, and it basically says, "Please come join us, Temple of Otriarch," and it has, basically drawings of pornography on them, and it's
Oh,
basically what it is. So
well,
I think after like kind of looking over it, Kulroki, I don't know how religious Kulroki is, but maybe you get the inclination that like these guys are like using the symbol of a god to get things that they desire, and there's very little actual religion going on there.
It's not like
the
Dionysian.
interior-
Like,
definitely
no,
the
we're
sense
into this.
he's getting is just.
Did the interior look brothely or more like a rundown church?
It looked like a rundown church that has been refurbished.
Kinky.
You share this, Kulroki?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh. So it's just
They're
fakes.
yeah.
Aye. Well, that may actually
They're
serve our purpose.
rotten like the rest of this place.
Aye.
I don't know what you're talking about. This sounds like a great institution. I think that they need checked out.
They're abusing the use of a god and a religion to get what they want.
Well, you're a religious person, Kuroki. Wouldn't you say that sometimes what goes around comes around? You see,
Yeah.
aye, well, they seem to be afraid that the only people that would be visiting them would be the plague burners. We might
Maybe
be
the
able
plague
to.
burners should visit them.
Well,
Oof.
that may be happening in the end, but in the meantime, we might have some leverage on them. Could turn out to be useful.
It could. I mean, I don't know the kinds of people attending their quote unquote services.
No, I'm not suggesting that we use anything like extortion or threats or
course.
anything like that. Yes, of course.
Of course not.
But I'm just saying that they seem like they might be in a precarious business situation.
It depends on what kind of connections they have.
I assume that this is all innuendo about participating in the orgy, and I've got to say, I've never seen it done like this.
Ross is uncomfortable.
Mason is
Feghrin takes it
rather
all just as a
uncomfortable.
matter of fact, like this is just,
I was actually out of character. I was actually kind of confused as to what you exactly were trying to get at.
Me?
You.
Feghrin is getting at basically like if they're pretending to be a temple, then we can use that against them later, and then try.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We can extort
Floki
them.
made that comment, and I'm just like, wait, did I just completely misunderstand stuff?
What do you hope to extort from them? Free sex? I don't think they charge.
Protection money. Oh, is it free? Are you sure it's free?
We could find out tonight.
You can find out tonight.
I feel like I'm in Vegas. This whole strip kind of feels like Fremont right now. The tree place and the weird stuff and the weird old man and people
gambling
handing me pamphlets with.
There's a reason they call it Oddity Alley. There's a reason for it.
Okay. All right. Well, that led nowhere.
Or did it?
Or did it?
I don't know. I'm out of ideas. Does anyone have any ideas?
Well, at the very least, we know they're not behind exploding ships.
Let's consult the quest board.
I wish you hadn't said that, Kulroki. I wish you hadn't said that.
I didn't hear what he said. Don't enlighten me.
Yes.
We could go to Mudport.
Why would we go to Mudport?
There are several reasons to go to Mudport.
Name them.
One is that we may be able to find information about Marauders. I think we're a little bit more likely to pick up a trail of them over there than we are in the city proper. Another reason is that we could get tattoos there.
You and your tattoos.
I have many of them. But I, like you, have an insufficient number. And we can get to work on rectifying that.
So I'm assuming that at best, ships of this era would move at half speed when under tow or like not if actually under sail than modern ships. So a ship of our size being able to leave a harbor, also we would have to pay money to get back in, which I think we have.
We wouldn't leave the lagoon. It's all...
No, it's on the outside of the lagoon. You have to leave the lagoon and go up. It's on the northwest.
Splinter Dish is on the outside.
No, I thought Mudport was on the northwest bank of the island.
Yeah, the northwest bank of the lagoon.
The lagoon on the inside of the island.
Like if this is the lagoon and there's the barrier, I thought it was like over here.
No, that's Splinter Dish.
Splinter Dish is off in the sea, I thought, like out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, like a couple of days out that way.
All right, here. I'll just draw it for you.
If you go to the docks and you look out at the lagoon and you turn right, you'll see...
Wait. So you're saying it's within sight? Like literally?
Yes.
Oh, well then yeah, we should
hit
go
it with
there.
a sniper rifle.
I had this wrong. I thought it was like... I thought this was like the size of a Hawaiian island, and we would have to sail out of the lagoon and then circle the circumference of the island up to the northwest side.
So if I can get this, okay. So Splinter Dish is out in the sea. You go into the lagoon. You have it's on each side of the lagoon, so you can sail across the lagoon to Mudport and back.
I had that totally wrong. Okay, it's in the lagoon.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
You're not the only one.
This is why I am the navigator.
I even drew the map. I drew a map of it and everything.
There are countless small dinghies and ferries that go back and forth, so you don't have to sail your big lumbering ships there and get
We
everyone
have
tired.
to take the crew to get tattooed, so we will bring everyone.
Let's go. Like what, man? I had this so wrong, and let's go yesterday. This is what I had. This was my map of Ukashe. It has a.
That's not too wrong. You're just like half wrong.
Not wrong. It's just Mudport goes on the other end of the lagoon, so you're fine.
Okay.
I guess that is on the other side of the toll booth. So for financial reasons, that's pretty wrong. But yeah, we can just head on over.
I'm gonna erase where Mudport is and literally put it in the opposite place.
All right. So we're taking both vessels over. Is that what the plan is?
No, you said we could hire a ferry pilot, like a port pilot.
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure because
Oh,
Caleb just said that he wants to bring everybody, so everybody gets tattooed. Was that the plan? Because if that's the plan, you'd have to sail the
okay,
ships
but
over there.
all right now, Captain Floki. Back when I was sailing back in Malasar, we had a term for this as sailors. It was called mandatory fun, and and we weren't a fan of it, to be quite honest with you.
All right, I defer to you to your wisdom, Captain. Oh, my Captain.
Or we can still get tattoos. I know. I mean, Kulroki
I mean-
I can see he wants a tattoo, so.
Gosh. Kogi's like, you can make the offer to the crew, and if anyone wants to tag along, they can.
Yeah,
Aye.
we can.
Force all the crew to go get a tattoo if they don't want a tattoo.
All right, so we go back to the Twilight's Revenge and send a key to the Red Herring to say, "Hey, anybody,
Right next to each other.
anybody
yeah,
that
right
wants a tattoo, we're gonna go get tattoos maybe and go check out this other town."
We have been
I can't
victorious in battle. We must now immortalize our victory upon our fleshy flesh.
You
Or
get
scales.
Aiden, Dorful, Doros, and Rhonda.
Nice. Okay.
I'm sorry. I wish I had time. I do now. If this works out, I'll be able to like do some bookkeeping. I swear to God, my like exhausted brain heard you say like Dorfo, Dorfin, and Dor like we're a bunch of freaking dwarves, or like whatever those.
Aiden, the dark
Aiden.
elf.
Yes.
Dorful.
Dorful.
Yes, the dwarf.
Yes. Who's-
Doros, the trident
Doros.
cleric,
Yes.
and Rhonda.
Okay.
So
Just
we
one.
do have a lot of O's in there, but
So who are the crewmates that got stolen? Just out of
that would
curiosity.
be Tolfin and Lisbon.
Oh, both of those are mine.
Yep.
Why did they steal
They're
my
also,
NPCs?
They're also an elf and a half elf.
Yeah.
I will absolutely.
They stole an elf and a half.
Okay, so we go back.
Oh, ha 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 ha.
We go to the
Ah.
harbor and we find someone willing to take us across like the Elder Scrolls with the door symbol, but it's a boat, and we press that and we go over the
You
other
find
side.
one. The guy
we-
you get
We walk up to our car, and then we take a step to the left and hail down a taxi.
basically. You get this one dwarf who has this red beard that is shaved down the center, and then he's got these two braids that kind of loop back around into like this weird backpack type thing that he has going on. And you can see he's got like all these like fishing crates on his little dinghy. But once you guys walk up, he is almost like one of those people that comes towards you in the mall trying to sell you stuff. And he tries to get you aboard his ship so he can take you over there. You all kind of climb in. He begins to take you over, and about midway across the lagoon, he looks at you all and is like, "No, what business you have in Mudport? If don't mind me asking."
Well, what business could we find in Mudport?
Well, sadly, not as much as you could just a few days ago.
Aye.
Yeah, the attack just yesterday. Oh,
An attack happened yesterday? What happened?
well, yeah, you folks must have been deep in the city. You didn't know. The docks were crazy that day. So there was an attack and there was an invasion, and ships were coming in through the gates, and Mudport took the blunt of the force and a lot of cannon fire. So they're still cleaning up.
Gods.
Rest assured, there's still fun to be had, if that's what you're after. Got plenty of fish, food. That's the things you're after too. And he kind of just looks up and down all of you guys and is super confused about what your shtick is. It's like all kinds of different faces in this group, and he looks at Rhonda for a moment longer, kind of strokes his chin a bit, and he's like, "What about you, lady?" She just turns, looks at him, and looks back away. He goes, "Hard to get. I like that in a woman." And he just like leans over and like starts tugging her open. Keeps getting you guys over there. Eventually, you make it to the dock, and he says, "Silver piece ahead, please."
I pay 4 silver. Minus 4 silver.
Be 7 silver
Oh,
together.
okay, 7 silver.
Yep.
I pay 7
Okay.
silver.
Thank you. I'll be here all day in case you need me to go back.
Aye.
As you guys dock, the docks themselves are caked in this light gray sludge that has like dried, almost like a thick layer of plaster all over the docks, where it's kind of hard to
Lose my
tell
mind, I regret everything.
what.
Nothing.
I didn't hear what you said, so
I
okay.
said I-
Well, so it's hard to tell between the boards where the boards are and where they aren't because it's all just a thick layer of the sludge. And then you can see the city or this town itself. These buildings made of brick and stone, with this like thick layer of like a mortar paste, about waist high, all the way across the buildings. Um, all these people wearing these large what are they called, waders, these rubber like waders that kind of come chests, so they're kind of like literally sludge through, you can call them the streets, but they're not really, it's more like uh fields. Like the streets themselves are waist high, at the lowest point of just this gray sludgy mud.
I get off the boat and like get covered in mud like to the waist, and I look over to like Floki and I'm like, Mudport.
Yeah, and you know, in hindsight,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's some like grand cosmic reward to be found here
No.
for all the suffering, but I don't know that I want to find it.
Okay. Hey, boat
Clue-
guy.
It's
No,
Look-
I'm just kidding.
Clue looks down at both Floki and Feghrin, and he starts strolling forwards down the street. He's like, "Are we having fun yet?" Because he's a little taller than them, so it's not quite waist deep.
Yeah.
So,
It is well above your thigh though, so it's not.
yeah, but because it's a lot higher on them than it is on him. So he's like, "Are we having fun yet?" Because he kind of got dragged along to this.
As Dorpal kind of jumps off, and he's got his little pack of things that he brought. It like goes up to his like chest, and he's like, "I guess we'll be seeing safe then, huh?"
Seeing what?
I
Seeing safe. That's what he says.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh.
He kind of just looks at you, Captain, and he's like, "Would that be our first stop then?" And he's like trying to like keep up with you guys as he's like making his way through the mud.
See and safe?
Seeing, like seeing, safe, which is a name.
Safe. Who's... I'm missing... I'm sorry, I don't understand.
It's a
I don't think you're intended to
main
understand.
character, and you don't understand because like I think that would be more.
Sure. And it's just like I'm fussing over my coattail because it's
Yeah.
beautiful and it's blue and it's embroidered and everything. And otherwise, he's got like really like neutral cut like this hat, and it's all like bland. But he's got that beautiful jacket made by Tim, the tailor, and he's like, "What? Oh gods!"
Safe. He's the town wizard. I heard rumors that he could help with this. It's like his way through.
Safe? What gods? What are you talking about?
He shouts over to some people who are like staying in this row. They're each wearing these like not what's the color I'm looking for? It's like a faint blue, like a dull muted blue waders, and then they have these bright yellow sock caps on. And they're all standing in a perfect row, and they're each kind of like reaching their arms into the mud and pulling out like hands full and like loads and loads of these crawfish looking creatures and putting them into baskets. And they're all like doing that in unison. You can tell they're like an actual like business. And he shouts over to them. He's like, "Oh, which way is safe?" One of them stops and just kind of points over the distance and then continues. And he's like, "Thank you." And he's like, I'll lead the way then. And it takes him like 17 seconds longer to walk past you
I
guys.
just like to slowly watch him, and I'm like,
I I turned to him. I'm like, would you like a ride on my shoulders just to get out of the mud?
I'm not exactly like Kulroki, but yes.
I can handle it.
He starts to climb up you, and you forget that he is a pretty hefty dwarf, and he brought all of his carpentry tools, which you would not need, but he's like, I'm not leaving without them. So he like climbs up on you. It's a good like 280, like almost 300 pounds with all of his stuff on him, and he climbs up, and it is really a lot for you. But once he's up on your shoulder, she's like, over there is what he said. And you guys kind of make your way to like this main street area where the mud is much lower, and it's only like a good foot or so, much easier to kind of trudge through. And you can see there's like this these trenches kind of carved out where there's like the most common foot, but you can see like anywhere that if someone hasn't been in a while, the mud just like slowly seeps back into the streets, and that's like how it stays this way. But you can see at the distance there's a crowd of people surrounding this a well-looking structure, and then beyond it you can see these platforms where there is like an upper dock area built in the center of town that is still caked in this stuff, but it's like a drier area. And you see everyone up there looks mostly cleaned. Like they have like a little bit around their ankles and stuff, but they don't have any gunk all over. But you see this central well area where there's a big crowd of people, but there are lots of people around you that are either catching and like storing these crawfish creatures, or like carving them up and preparing them into like different things. That's basically what the whole town, like the whole town in unison, is doing it. And like there are halflings and humans and half elves and dwarves, and all these people are just like working all together. But you can see that crowd of people. That's where he's leading you. You get to this crowd of people, and you can see in the center of town is this well that has been boarded up. And on top of these boards is standing this young human who's wearing this bright green wizard's robes. And he has this hat that has a huge tear down the center of it that has been poorly like tried to be stitched back together by someone who doesn't know how to sew, but it's very clearly that it's still ripped. And he's just sitting here with his wand flicking it and casting prestidigitation over and over and over again, and these people are just like paying him a gold piece every time he does it. So he's just like sitting here flicking this spell, and then once people have it cast, there's like this these thin 2x4s that people are able to walk up on and get up to this upper area where you can see a large tavern and a couple other business buildings up there. But you can see as you get closer, Dorfman's like, that lad there, that must be safe then.
all right, it does look rather like we could use his services.
You guys kind of get in line. As you kind of walk up, he doesn't even say a word to you. He just turns to you, flicks his wand, and evaporates all of the mud off of you, and holds out his hand.
How much is it? I'm sorry, we're not from here.
Oh, just a gold.
All right, I give him a gold piece.
He
Minus
takes it,
one,
inspects it for a moment, and tucks it away, and gestures you beyond him.
How do I feel? Like, am I totally clean now?
Yeah, you're absolutely clean. Like, there's even like
God.
that mud that and like dampness that had seeped into your pants and into your the lower part of your torso is completely clean, and dry.
Lads, this is great. It's worth every bit of a gold piece.
He tips his hat to you as you walk past.
I'll pay him a gold.
He flicks it to you. For a moment, Floki, your hair gets frizzled, and you feel your like a gust of wind come over you quickly. And once it passes, you're perfectly clean as well.
All right, I'll kind of shake one of my legs and shake the other one, then take a crawfish out of my pants and toss to the side. All right, ready to go.
Yeah, he gestures you onward.
I look at him and then like also gesture to the guy on my shoulders.
He looks at you both. He's like, "I'll have to do one at a time." And Dorfal's like,
That's fine.
"Yeah, Kulroki, don't mind me first." He's gonna come down. Like you can see, like once he gets down, you tell there's like his beard is like all caked in mud too. He casts it. He gets clean, and he takes off his pack, roots around. He looks up at you. He's like, "I forgot my purse."
Fine. I flick him a gold.
Thank you. He packs his pack back on and follows the rest of the group. He flicks towards you, gets you clean, and Aiden, Doros, and Rhonda follow. Everyone gets clean. You make your way up to this upper area. You can see the tavern is called the Red Dog. There's also a looks like some type of inn / maybe a hospital. And the third building looks to be some type of main office or like a city hall of sorts.
If I were doing crimes and or tattoos, where would I be?
Dorfal, if we were doing crimes or tattoos, where would we be?
That's a good question. What do you think, Rhonda? You know the area better than me.
Rhonda, you've been here before.
Well, yes, I've been. I don't ask you about your past. I figured that was.
Well, you
mutual.
could. You've read the accords and signed them. We don't have to keep any secret. It's not a secret, Rhonda. It's fine. We just. If you have any information for us, it'd be nice to not get
Okay.
mud in
Why
the eye about it again.
don't you want to talk about your grandmother?
Me?
Yes.
Well, that's not. We're not talking about that right now. That's not.
I think you volunteered. It's happening. It's an ambush. It's a trap. You've been trapped. Your grandmother.
Well, at least we could
Why
go
are you
and,
running from her?
Go in the tavern and get a drink and get started on the tattoos and everything. That would be a good conversation for a nice whole picture of. I hope it's not muddy, but
It's probably pretty muddy.
yeah, probably.
Well, I mean,
Wonder where would we get something to drink and a tattoo?
She points at the tavern building.
That building that's a tavern where they sell drinks. Aye, yes. Well, we should probably go in there then. What's the sign say?
It says the Red Dog. And actually, I think there would be. I don't know how you would react to this, but the sign says the Red Dog, and the painting. There's like a painting of a dog silhouette, and the dog has 3 heads on it.
Oh, this is Clifford's place.
Dog silhouette. I can't remember. Has that come up in the past? 3-headed dog?
it has.
Yeah.
It has.
Sorry.
If the Phantom
Bogus.
very first bad guys were the Cerberus pirates.
Oh yeah, the Severus.
Also, didn't Mogis have a three-headed dog?
What?
Or was that a one-headed dog?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Mason?
Severus.
I would have swore that when, what's his face? My warlock would talk to Mogis. He had a three-headed dog.
Oh, it wasn't really a dog. It was like a beast.
Oh,
But
I always just, for some reason, I always thought it was a dog.
I mean, it kind of treated it like a dog, but it's more like a amalgamous monster than a
Oh,
dog.
okay.
But yeah, and that's the thing about Mogus is he's kind of like both halves. Like he had like a humanoid looking half and then a monstrous looking half, and they're kind of connected in a weird way.
Rhonda, that sign there, is this, do you know who owns this tavern? What kind of people are here?
The Oakenburrows owned it the last time I was here, but that was 4 years ago, so
Don't know
Not sure.
anything about that dog. The symbol.
it's a dog.
Aye, yes. All right, well, let's go in and get some drinks.
You guys walk in. There is like this faint, thin layer of this dried mud in the entryway, but once you step in, there are actual clean floorboards that have been mopped regularly, and you actually see on either side of the building there are these mops just hanging and drying, like dozens of them, as it's hard work to keep this place clean. But in the center of the room, you can see this large countertop, and these large shelves filled with all types of different booze. Hanging from the center of the room is this large ram's skull, but the horns are like half broken off on either side to like make sconces, but not actually make sconces, that are lit. And the whole room has this faint smell of lemons that just like it's like a nice freshness smell that you can tell that they use it to help clean. The whole room smells like pine sol. And as you walk in, there are several dwarves kind of mingling in the corner, leaned up against a windowsill, looking out amongst the people. And you can see behind the counter is a human that has this try to describe it. It's like a thick mane of hair, just a massive amount of long hair that has not been kept at all. It's kind of like matted down in areas, and it's got these beads on the left hand side. But it's very androgynous, this person. But they are tending to different customers. Most of the customers in here do tend to be dwarves, but there are a couple of different humans mingled in as well. But as you step in, that's the main presence. Is like the smell of pine, so you can see some people mingle in the corner. There's this large area. Like it's hard to get the point across of like the countertop itself is like kitchen table wide. So there's like this large gap between the patrons and the barkeep.
Hello there. We'd like some drinks for our crew. I go up to the bar.
Right. What can I get you then? We got some malts in, fresh last week. Some wines. Bit outdated for my taste, but if that's what you're into, we can go with that. What tickles your fancy?
What do you have that would be great for drinking right before getting a tattoo that you regret?
A tattoo. He kind of like pauses for a moment, or they kind of pause for a moment. He leans up against the countertop and he says, "I think you're here to see Grace, then."
Possibly also, but intoxication would be a plus.
Right. I'd probably suggest this then. And he or they pull up this barrel of this barrel that has like this thick moss caked on the outside of it. I think Feghrin, you'd realize that this is wood that has been like hidden in like underwater and then been retrieved later. And it has this like sour smell to it that kind of takes away from the freshness of the room as he brings it up. But then they begin to pour it out. This liquor has like this clear liquid kind of comes out, but it's got this like powdery residue that kind of like seeps to the bottom of the glass as the glass kind of settles. And he pushes these glasses forward. He pushes 7 glasses forward. He goes, "This here is fantastic. You know, because it is came all the way from Granchio, and I've actually been saving it for a special occasion. But I honestly, folks of your variety, I think take the cup."
Alrighty, what'll that run me? It'll be my treat.
Paying for the house be 30 gold.
Oh,
Oof.
I
Pay
thank you,
30
Floki.
gold.
Or they begin to pour out. I was trying to make this better, but I keep going back to like he, but whatever. But they begin to pour glasses for everyone else in the room. Like that's why they charge you 30. Is they literally thought you were fine for everyone. You said everyone. So, as they're doing that, they turn back and it's like, if it's Grace you're after, she is actually over at the townhouse for a moment. She should be back momentarily, though.
I slam my, what is the container that he puts it in?
It's a very large, thick glassware. So it's like, I would imagine it looks like a tankard, but without a handle, and it's like this large, thick glass.
Okay, I slam that down on the table, and I raise it up to get everybody's attention. I'm like, we know that it's been hard times for you lately in this town. So we want to bring a little cheer on behalf of the Crimson Skippadoos and the Twilight's Revenge Company.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check. At advantage because your coat.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I got like a +4, so it should be a 20. I don't know my
All right,
stats. I have a higher charisma than that, though.
You hear some murmurs and whispers come from all over the room. And then suddenly, a couple of the doors from the window come over and approach you guys. And as they do, the large barkeep kind of leans down and is like, I would have been careful sharing that information, but real quick, before you get busy with your company here, why are you here to see Grace exactly? Assuming you're here to see her?
We wanted tattoos, but we're very interested in the company.
They wanted tattoos.
He wants several tattoos.
We want several tattoos.
Right. They begin to like quickly step away before they get sucked into the conversation as these dwarves approach you guys. One of them is like a thinner individual for a dwarf with a very tightly braided black beard. The one next to him has a brown beard that is a little grayish in areas, with these thick brows that almost cover the eyes. These two dwarfs kind of approach. It's like,
You are the champions, then the Crimson Skippadoos.
Well, to some, aye.
We lost a lot of money, thanks to you.
A lot of... I'm sorry, I can't hear you over your eyebrows.
he like begins to like mutter and stutter to himself, and the one next to him goes, kind of like pushes him to the side a little bit, and goes,
We've been betting on the Screaming Demons for 10 years now, and then you folks come around and ruin our bets.
Do these seem just like normal dwarf folk?
"Yep,
Oh.
just no dwarfs."
Well, that's quite unfortunate. I hope you can understand our point of view that, well, we were rather trying hard ourselves. I guess that's the Screaming Demons?
Mm-hmm.
Screaming Demons. You know, next year, It'll probably pay off if you bet on him again.
They kind of look at each other and look back at you. And it's like,
We'll accept the liquor, but don't expect any forgiveness coming from us.
Well,
And-
sorry that you're not fans.
they just kind of like cross their arms and walk back to in their room with their drinks.
Crew, it's good that Tulu isn't here. We'd already be fighting half this place.
I'm just gonna say I'm disappointed in you. We had just a bar fight, walked up to you, and you just ran him off. Come on, we need to be more drunk.
Oh, Floki, it's not these. These are just common crawfish hunting dwarves.
I didn't say stab them.
No, it's not
It's
that.
a bar.
We need to find out information for the type of people we would like to be stabbing. It's not going to do any good to get in a scuffle with these poor folks.
I just start chugging my drink at this point.
Nice. It tastes very ashy. Like it tastes like a campfire is what it tastes like. But it does have like very typical alcoholish effects. You feel like a warmth, and it actually isn't so bad. It just tastes like a campfire.
Yeah, I put it down and I turn to the bartender, and I'm just like, whatever the strongest thing you have, I'd like it.
All right. Turns around, looks a moment at their inventory. He's like, "Oh yeah, found a troll's blood.
Say what?
Troll's blood." He pulls out this large black bottle that has been like sealed with some type of tar, and you would actually recognize this bottle is very similar to what Marcy had at the Busy Beaver. In fact, it's the exact same stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, I believe Grace's brother brought this over." Pops it, and he's like, "It's expensive, but this will
What was it? What was the cost of that again?
it's 8 a cup."
8. All right. Yeah, I give him 8, and I take the cup, and I don't chug it, but I do start drinking it.
All right. There's no fancy presentation last time you had it, but it does taste very nice. And
I'm enjoying this.
you can go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, let's see how drunk Kulroki gets. All right, that would be a 13.
All right. Sadly, 13 has no magical effects. However, it does taste very nice.
Yeah, I enjoy my drink.
The barkeep nods agreeably. And at that moment, the door just flies open with a large sigh. You see this tiefling woman walk in. She has a large bag, like almost like I would imagine like what is like equivalent of nowadays like a duffel bag, sloshed on her back. She's wearing these bright purple silken robes that kind of come off and quite long for people. Like everyone else in this town is wearing quite tight clothes because if you have anything that hangs off, it just gets muddy. So everyone wears pretty close to the body clothing, but she's wearing these bright flowy clothes. And Feghrin, you actually notice there's a faint, maybe it's just the fact that she's tiefling in nature, or maybe it's her outfit, but there's something about her that reminds you of Madame Lamberna from Dubatza as she walks in. But she's got this faint pink skin coloration, 2 large horns that kind of curl up on their own and kind of face each direction off to the side, with this darkened black hair that is in a ponytail off to the side. And as she walks in, you notice that her right arm, the her sleeve is like tied in a knot and tucked into her belt. And as she kind of walks in, she slops her bag on the counter in like frustration, and she like pops a stool right next to you, Feghrin, and she looks at the barkeep and she says, "They denied me again." And the barkeep kind of turns back and is like, "Gracie, you know, uh, these things have the tendency to work themselves out. You uh, just give it a few more weeks. They'll come around." She kind of sighs, looks at you all, kind of gives you all a nod.
Hello there. We just ordered a round for the bar. Seems you're having a tough day. Why don't you take one with everyone else?
Thank you. She kind of turns her shoulder a bit and kind of looks away for a moment as she takes a glass that's already been poured. And she says, "Do I know you folks?" And takes a drink.
I look over to Rhonda and Dorful and everybody else.
Everyone else kind of looks at you as you look at them.
I mean, you've already announced us to the rest of the bar. I don't see what one more person could hurt.
Oh, I just figured if you all knew her or want to talk to her.
Oh, I thought you were looking at us as like, oh, do you guys want to tell her who we are? And then it's like, you do.
We hear that you offer tattooing services.
Gosh, which I
That'd be
need to be more drunk.
We've got a
for this.
crewmate that wants a tattoo, and I put my arm around Kulroki.
Gosh.
Before we go any further with this arrangement, I'd like you to know my prices have doubled in recent events.
Oh, well, what
How
are your
much
prices?
is double what your previous price was?
Well, it depends on the work. She looks at you and realizes how large you are. She kind of scratches her. Honestly, my pigments are pretty expensive, so it depends on how much you want done.
I accept your terms.
That's okay, but
All
you're
right.
not me.
She grabs the duffel bag off the counter, opens it up, and pulls out this book, and kind of slides it over across the countertop towards you, Floki.
Well, I think I was thinking we've got the Twilight's Revenge Company has a symbol associated with it, right? I was thinking about getting one of those done up. You know, because we did the thing with stuff.
All right, that's fine.
I take the book and start looking through it.
All right. As you open it up, you can see it has these samples like of colors, and like they look almost like pastels that have been crushed against the page, and then it has like a name above it, written in Infernal, and then you see prices next to it. So there are like all these, like literally every color of the rainbow, different shades, textures, pigments that have like discolorations in them, pigments that have like these translucent colors to them. So basically, any color you can think of, you can find it in this book as you start kind of flipping through it.
Alright, yeah. While they're doing that, I'm just slowly flipping through the book, looking at all the cool colors.
I stand next to Clue, and I'm just looking with him.
In addition to making regrettable decisions, we were also planning on a sort of oversharing a bit, and I was a little curious. You seem to have a lot going on. Do you happen to need a stranger's shoulder to maybe opine a little? I'm great at listening.
She squints her eyes a bit and looks at you. Let's see how the business part goes first, and then we can talk about the fun.
All right, I was doing it the other way around. Hey, Feghrin, tell us about your grandmother.
Well, I was gonna pick a tattoo, but I like roll up my sleeve, and he's middle aged now. He's probably about 50, and he's got he's got age marks on his arm and everything. He's got like old man skin, and it's leathery and sun scorched and everything. And the tattoos are faded from top to bottom. His left arm has names and different symbols, but some have been marked out and others are scarred over. And it's just like a line of old faded things. Some of them marked out and others scarred over, all the way down to the wrist. And he gets there, and he's like, I think I'd like just a simple tattoo. Not very big. Just a name with a heart.
She gestures to your arm to get a closer look. And she takes it and she runs the tip of her fingernail down it. And as she does, you have like this immediate chills as your hair's kind of standing on end. And she goes, "Just be glad you still have the canvas, sailor." And she kind of gestures to her shoulder. And she quickly grabs a large, you can call it a quill of sorts. It's not a feather, it's just this large writing utensil. And she takes it and like tucks it into her mouth, like grabs your wrist, kind of like folds it over, and then takes her implement out again, starts scribbling on a piece of paper. And as she does, she kind of talks to you over her shoulder, and she says, "Did you have any colors in mind?" She's like scribbling it out.
What color was her kobold?
What?
Sarah's kobold.
Sarah's kobold is a like a crimson orangish red.
I would say orange.
All right. That would actually contrast the design quite well. And she finishes and pulls it over to you. Basically, what it is like a faint cloud with like this bright lightning strike that kind of strikes through it. And she kind of looks at it as she talks to you, and she says, "Something about you just spoke storm to me, and I think it would fit you well."
All right. I'd like the name Serafina marked through it.
Right. She kind of finishes the design and lets you take a look over it. Basically, it's like a thundercloud, and it has Serafina under it.
That looks good. Thank you. How much would it be?
Just using, and then she says it in like infernal and like this very guttural tongue, and she goes, "It's one of the easier pigments to come by, so I will 70 gold."
That's fair. So be it, and I pay her 70 gold.
All right. She gestures to Kulroki to get her book back.
I give her book back.
She takes it, folds it, puts it away, puts away her design, puts away all of her writing implements that she gets out. And it takes her a minute because she only has her one arm. She folds it all away, slashes it on her back. She goes, "Well, we can't be working here. I'm going to need more lighting. So if you don't mind, follow me to my place."
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I finish the rest of my drink and then get up and start following.
I do the same. Finish the drink and then all the rest of them.
Derek, I'll be back in a few hours.
Bye, Derek.
All right, Gracie. All right, blue folk. Gets back minding all of his customers. You guys follow Grace. She walks out the door, takes immediate turn and goes to like this to the back of the building where there are these like 2x4s that have been like propped up between the building and this like outcropping of stone to get up on this ridge, and behind some vegetation, there's this shack of a building kind of hidden behind the rest of the town, but it's up out of um, the mud, and it's not well kept, and in fact, it's kind of not kept on purpose to hide it from the outside people. And I don't think most people who haven't worked with her probably don't know this building exists. And she leads you all in there. There's just a curtain for a door, and inside there are different cushions lying about. But there are three of these baubles that kind of hang from the ceiling. And as she walks in, she takes out her drawing implement. She kind of flicks it as if it were a wand, and each of the baubles kind of glows. The first one is like this faint, warm yellow color. The one on the opposite end is like this harsh blue light, and then the one in the center is just this pure white light, and the room fills with this most pure, clean light that you've ever seen. And Kulroki, as she does, you feel this presence, and it's almost like a strange sensation for you because as a blue dragonborn, you have an innate power of this electrical energy, and you feel there is some contained in this room of this like almost vibration that you feel, and it's like very subtle, but I think only you could even tell it exists. But she's gestures over her shoulder to you as you guys walk in. She's make yourselves at home. And as you guys walk in, there's also this massive mural on the side of the shack. This mural of what looks like deep stone. Just these buildings carved out of this limestone with these strange statues in the streets and mountains in the background. And she begins to work on a final draft of Feghrin's tattoo. What do you guys do as you're kind of sitting here?
Clue's trying to desperately think of whatever kind of tattoo he's going to get because he has no clue what he's going to get. So he's sitting there thinking. I mean, he's tuned into the energy, but like he doesn't know what to do with that. It's like it's not really his place to, especially here, to like try and point stuff out. It's just like whatever.
Doros, who has mostly been quiet this trip thus far, kind of leans forward and looks towards Floki and goes, "I thought the point was to get matching tattoos."
I thought that was the point too. I also thought that the point was to make everyone do it because that's been the tradition in most of the crews that I've been in. But it seems like we're not quite following my plan, which is okay.
Oh, we can still get more tattoos, can't we?
Yeah, I think that doing the like sigil thing with the bird creature that you got for the Twilight's Revenge, I think that makes the most sense. It's kind of like a company-wide standard tattoo for those willing to get tattoos. But if anyone else has any other suggestions, I'm speak up now or forever hold your peace so long as your flesh remains.
My point was I just didn't want to get Seraphine tattooed on me. That's I don't know who knows Seraphine.
I like you.
In my experience, getting other girls' names tattooed on you is a real power move. Just, it's good. I mean, just generally having some feminine names on your body, like even if there's no real person associated with them, it can kind of, it's got some weight.
In Malasar, we called that being a real Chad, but
yeah,
that's not. I like your idea, Floki, but let's do it. I'm honored, in fact. But my flag and all, but you see, I quite already have it, in fact. And I pull my coat back, and I have that symbol, which is the phantom with the moon. I have that on my back. But I like that. Let's do it. Let's all get
And
that.
I mean, that's great because you already got the one there, so you can, we can point at you and go, that one, please.
Aye.
At that point, she finishes up and is like, well, are you ready? Gestures to you, Feghrin.
Aye. Here's the arm.
She sits down and begins the process.
The moment she starts, I say, okay, so your grandmother. You clearly have a strong connection to her, but you also desperately don't want to find her.
No,
Lay it on us.
it's not that, Captain Floki. I do want to find her. Sometimes I wonder if it's actually possible. You see,
Well, everyone around here seems to know her.
yes. Well, there's something you should know about my family. You see, there's a couple of things. Before my father, my family had quite a bit of money, and well, after my father, he had a lot of children by a lot of people. Add to that, then, that all sorts of people had counterfeit family names, where they'd claim to be Fair Harbors. So where I come from, it's quite common to claim to be a Fair Harbor. That's why I'm not too keen on saying it often, and very careful on who I believe if they said they've seen a Fair Harbor.
But you don't, investigate it at all. There's no... I mean, it seems like some Fair Harbor person came around through here and did some pretty incredible things. You'd think that if they were running with a counterfeit name to try to steal glory off someone else, they'd not do that once they were successful.
Well, you've heard of Wynn Fair Harbor. If
This
not
is
heard
great.
of Wynn Fair Harbor.
Have I heard of Wynn Fair Harbor?
No, you've never heard of.
I've never heard of Wynn Fair Harbor.
Are you from Alteroth?
I'm from the island with all the elves.
Alteroth.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that wasn't exactly where she sailed. I'm from Malasar, from the Human Empire, and she's pretty well known by all humans there. A legend. At this point, some believe she didn't maybe even exist, but she did. She was an urchin, and at one point slew her own captain, took over the ship, and then eventually amassed one of the greatest armadas in the Western Seas. She's known for having sailed to the southern horizons, and is said that she has one of the greatest ships, most powerful ships that has ever existed, and she has the secret of some great treasure.
Does the ship have a name?
And I don't have my computer,
Yeah, it's
so
the
I
Edge
don't have
Rider.
my notes. Yeah.
Edgy.
Yes,
Okay.
and they say that one of the heirs of Tygo was one of those ships, one of the legendary 33 ships.
All right, and has anyone here heard of the whereabouts of the Edge Runner? Rhonda.
She kind of looks up at Grace to see if she's even listening, but she's strangely enticed on working on Feghrin. In fact, she's almost finished up, and she says, "I've heard rumors, but
Rhonda!
you weren't too
Don't
keen on
act like you
talking
were
about it."
curious.
What?
She mentioned that she knew of Fair Harbor when we met her, and you were like, "Well, that couldn't be anyone I know," and left it at that. And now I'm here while you're under the knife, interrogating it, because I remember.
I actually threw my arm up while I was getting it's like
She's like, "I can work with that. It is it's just a streak. We can make it
syrup.
So
Anyways,
she turns the eye into part of the lightning and makes it actually look alright. But Rhonda continues. She says, yeah, there's I mean, Wen did come through here. Uh, I'm pretty sure I met her. If it was her, maybe it was
Rhonda.
her ghost.
Okay, yes, with everything we've seen, that I suppose is possible. Wynn is my grandmother, and I'm 53 years old. 50 years old.
Yeah, you start to lose track after a certain point, I feel you.
I do.
I mean, I was just maybe 13 or 14, so it would have been 26 years ago.
26 years ago. I suppose it could have been possible. That was just around the time that I was about to take command and lost my ship in Malasar.
Yeah, she did have a presence about her. And the thing is it was shortly after 80s was settled, and she wasn't too welcome by most of the houses. She had some ideas about how to keep things clean and integral. And back then, House LeBlanc and House Creed, they had their own ideas to how they wanted to do things. And she ran, as any smart person would do. So I don't know the whereabouts of the Edge Runner, but it is just as immaculate as the fairy tales say. At least it was.
You've seen the Edge Runner. Well, this certainly complicates things.
To be honest, it feels like a dream now. But I think it's probably the reason I am who I am today. I mean, before Nex and everything, my recent years, I really did enjoy the seas. I think it has a lot to do with her, but honestly, after I don't know, I would like to maybe go see this sunken ship that Floki's been talking about. That seems like that we might be able to, I don't know, find more ghosts.
Floki, or I turn to Floki and I say, I think you might be right. I guess in a way I didn't want to find her. My father was a wicked and twisted man, and he consorted with all sorts of strange spirits and weird people, and squandered my grandmother's fortune. I was the last orphan to take care of him before his death, the last of his bastard children. But I have always wanted to be on the seas. As the salt water lapped up higher and higher in Malasar, as the city began to sink and the people realized that their destiny would be in the waters, every day I looked for it more and more, and I wanted to be out of that manor and into the seas. And I couldn't wait for the seas to swallow that city whole. And even now I want to be back on the water. I love it. It's where I belong, and it's where I'll die. And so I know what you mean, Rhonda. And I guess part of me worries that the taste in the books that I found in my father's house, when I learned about who he came from and what was out there, I don't even want to lose it. Can it even live up to the dream that I have of it?
Well, there we go. All finished. What do you think?
Looks great. Here's the money. All right, let's go.
So yeah, you look down on it, and she has used the scars on your arm as like these actual like lightning bolts, and like made it look unison, and
Wow.
kind of tied everything together. And this orange that you told her to use
Oh, like a
doesn't.
sleeve. Like it's like all the scars and stuff, like lightning. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Cool.
say it's like it's a quarter sleeve, probably not like not even a half sleeve, but this quarter sleeve that she did on you, looks vibrant, as it uses all of the dark inks that have been faded by time, with the bright orange that you chose, and it makes it look like these lightning beams are peering like sunlight beyond a storm,
Cool.
and she worked really hard on. She finishes, starts doing some like hand exercises, and she like looks up. She's like, "Who's next?"
I think I know what I'm looking for. If everyone else is still thinking.
Rhonda kind of shrugs, and she's like, "I think I know what I'm gonna get." And Doros and Dorful are like still looking at the color book and like, which one are we gonna get? And Aiden has been like literally twiddling his thumbs in the back of the group the whole time, and he like, kind of like looks out the window kind of nervously. But Grace kind of looks over and is like, "All right, well, step on up." She like kind of like slightly kicks a stool out to you.
All right, I think I'm looking to get two, not too big. One, the bird thing on that man's back, a replica of that, but I think up on my sort of abdomen a bit to the left. I think I've learned a thing or two about identifying tattoos on easy to see areas. I think that do, and I got enough on my arms anyway. But on my arms, I would like, and that could just be in like whatever black. But then I think I'd like one on my uh, left hand inside wrist. It's the word Dye, Dye. Lowercase letters, but all as big as each other. Except the first, the C, the kind of uppercase, and so far as that's an important thing. Kind of a reddish orange, if you could. And I'd like the E to be weird, with kind of the circle and a lowercase e. I'd like that to be much larger than it should, and to have a pupil done up in there, and like do it up like it's an eye.
She like makes like she's staring at you the entire time as you're explaining this, and she looks past you for a moment, makes eye contact with Dorful, and then kind of looks at you again. Um, she gestures towards your wrist. She's like, "Oh, may I?" She kind of holds your wrist and pulls it inside, and she taps you, and kind of runs her fingernail across it. As she does, she's going to cast Detect Thoughts. So I'd like you to give me a Wisdom saving throw, unless you're going to willingly allow her inside.
I think I didn't. I think I'll resist that wisdom saving throw. I'm pretty wise. Not that
How
I am
close?
now. That's a
How
9.
close are you to me?
He's
How close
definitely
are you to
in
me?
the range. He's in the range of your radius for sure.
All right, so then you get a +3 to that, so you get
In
a
that case,
12.
I got a 12.
That will still fail.
Right.
But you notice, like, you feel the presence of her kind of intrude, and you feel like almost like somebody peering beyond the curtain. And as soon as like your heart rate rises and you have that initial moment of panic, you feel it release a little bit. Like she kind of backs off as soon as she realizes that she's like interrogating you, and you like are trying to resist it. She stops for a moment, and she makes eye contact with you, and she says, "What are you trying to hide?"
Is this verbal?
Mhm.
Floki's kind of excited by the general situation, and as he's kind of describing this, he's like, he's into this, and he's stopped his movements, but his face hasn't kind of lost its smile, and he's looking at her right in the eyes, and he says, "I am not hiding anything." Well, that's not a good idea with tattoos anyway.
She kind of grins, and she says, "All right. I will use some of this leftover from the gentleman's tattoo, but I'm also going to pick something a bit more vibrant than black, if you don't mind."
All right. I
uh,
will defer to your wisdom.
She dips down into her bag, pulls out this bottle that looks like it's like a lavender color on top, and then it turns to like a deep violet on the bottom, and she starts shaking this pigment up. Begins to like spread it out on a canvas next to you, and then dipping her implement into it. She pulls on your wrist gently, but then almost like forcefully angles it in a slightly uncomfortable angle so she can get like the perfect thing. And she says, "Hold still, please."
I'll try.
And then she begins to work. And as she does, Aiden kind of stands up nervously and like folds his hands behind his back. And he comes over to you, Kulroki, and he whispers in your ear. He's like, "How much longer do you think we'll be here?"
Well, he's like, well, I gotta get a tattoo. These guys might need some, so I don't know. Depends on what they want. Why? What's bothering you?
Well, I just came because I didn't want to be on that ship anymore. But honestly, I'm a little nervous. I'm a previous business owner. We don't know each other that well. I'm Aiden, by the way. In case you forgot, there's a lot of...
Yeah.
I'm a previous business owner. And he's like trying to be discreet and whisper, but it's like there's not a lot going on in this room, and almost, I think anyone who's trying to hear can hear the conversation. He says, "And I just happened to notice there are no licenses or clear documentation of a legitimate business here."
Okay.
Okay. And realizing that you don't care, he kind of steps back.
Doing the crimes.
He kind of leans back a bit and just like nervously looks out the window.
He's like, if that is a problem, you can go wait in the bar if you'd like. But I can't guarantee anything once you wait in the bar. I don't know how long it will take.
He looks over at Dorful and he says, I kind of promised that I would commit to this crew, and I'm going to stand by my word.
I mean, you can still commit and go drinking in the bar. I don't care. But I will track you down and find you once we're done.
No, I'm getting a tattoo too.
Oh, okay. Just
You're not coming out of it. And he kind of looks out the window again, and you can tell like he's trying to like convince himself and he's using convincing you as a tool to convince himself to do it. But he's very nervous about the situation. She finishes up on Sai because it was a faintly smaller tattoo. She holds it up, and as you look at it, the violet that she uses complements the orange into like this darker contrasting red. It makes it actually look like flame. Like it looks like it makes it look like the entire thing is flaming on your hand. And she goes, I took a bit of inspiration with the name Sai, obviously. The Dwarvish word for flame itself. Don't know why you wanted it, but I worked hard.
Oh, I like it a lot.
So she kind of turns you to get where you're back, and she runs her finger down your spine. And for a moment you're confused because you wanted it on your abdomen, and then you realize that she kind of goes up and she starts counting your vertebrae down, and then slowly turns you around, and she was literally measuring you by eyeballing it, but she's like perfect about it and precise. And then she's like, if you don't mind, I'll need you to. It's like she's like gesturing to disrobe. She doesn't
yeah,
say
of course.
anything.
Oh, take off my shirt.
Then she takes her implement and quickly jabs at you with it to like mark a perfect point.
Ow.
Then she begins to work on getting your symbol done. And as she does, Doros is like, I believe we're going to get an anchor, a simple anchor with the implement of Tago on it. And he begins to like draw out this thing, but his Triton nature makes it look really unique. And the way that Tritons write, it looks almost like they include the letter S to every letter of their alphabet. And he gets this really unique design. And he says, "Is this what we're agreeing upon?" And Dorfal's like, "Yeah, that looks good, right, Aiden?" And Aiden kind of just like nervously looks over his shoulder, and he's like, "Whatever you decide." And they finish it. They kind of show it to Feghrin. Feghrin just looks like an anchor, and then at the center ring of the anchor, where it attaches to the chain, you can actually see a symbol of Tago inside. And it's like, what do you think? Think it'll do?
I can't remember symbol toggle. Let's see, pins. Is that the anchor? Is the symbol of Tago?
No, inside the anchor is a symbol of Tago. Which the symbol of Tago is like a kind of looks like a sun with a wave on the inside of it.
Okay.
So it's kind of a weird, not very intricate symbol. But they show it to you, all excited about it. They just kind of like nervously wait and discuss who's going to go next. Assuming that they're like going to cut in front of Kulroki for sure on this line, because they get excited about their design that they have. Eventually, she finally finishes with your design, and kind of gestures for you to leave, like the stool.
To Floki.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll get off.
And as you do, you notice there's a sudden shift in the temperature of the room. And there's like this cool breeze comes through the room. A very strong cold breeze. And as you get up, you notice that the sun is kind of going down and it's getting a little darker. And she says, next. And Dorfel kind of shuffles up there, plops down, and is like, yep, I want the phantom over here and the anchor over there. She goes, one on each shoulder. Goes, yeah, gotta keep it balanced. And she goes, you're gonna have to be patient. I have to shave you first. So she begins to start shaving this dwarf's back. And it takes a while. I think Dwarfel takes the longest because she has to shave him. And he's got these large dwarfish shoulders. But she finally finishes with him. Doros goes up next. And you notice that she changes implements with Doros as he has his fishy scales. She pulls out this thinner, almost looks like a fork. It has like these larger prongs at the end of it, and she has to like scrape underneath the scales to get them to stand a certain way so she can actually have a surface to work on that doesn't spread everywhere and get ink all over the place. But she finally finishes up with him. He gets matching as Dorfel. Aiden goes up. Aiden pays for the group of all three of them as a sign of commitment to this. And literally, he is freaking out. Like, he is literally like shaking as he's getting his done. And he looks to you, Feghrin, and he says, how bad does it hurt?
It may be a little bit uncomfortable, but you'll be all right. And it's quite satisfying to have something to remember on every time you can look in a mirror or into the reflection of a water.
Right.
You'll be all right. And
She's like,
Grace, this is some of the best tattoo art I've ever seen.
she replies with an implement in her mouth as she's measuring something else on door phone, and she's like, yeah, I figure. Okay.
You remind me of someone, in fact.
He pauses and just looks at you.
Your art and your style. There's a lady I once knew, not too well, but in Dubatsa, a city far to the north of here. Came to a bad end, but this sort of sense of art and certainty and power over a thing. Yes, reminds me of her.
She pauses and she looks at you and she says, name wouldn't be Mercy, was it?
It wasn't Mercy, right?
No.
No. No, Lambuna?
Lamberna.
Lamberna. No, her name was Lamberna. She was she worked in potions and materials and things in a dwarven city. In fact, there are a few people in that city that I wish that I knew if they were okay.
My only living relative is Mercy. Actually, I think they decided to change it. I think they go by Marcy now, but that's about the only one. She begins to keep measuring. She looks up from you, from her work though, and looks at you, and she says, by the way, if you happen to see them, let them know I miss them. And also, thank you." She continues to work. Finally finishes up there, and then looks to Kulroki.
Kulroki gets up. He looks at Floki. He's like, okay, I'm going to get 2. He wants the Phantom Twilight Revenge Company symbol one on his back between his shoulder blades, and then okay, what's like the biggest like tree in these Mythic Isles?
I think the biggest tree you would have seen would have been the tree in the center of town. Probably would have been the tree at the center of town. And I'm just going to double check my notes because
I mean, I'm just talking like in species wise.
Yes. So I don't remember if it is because I have a whole. I have lore that I have sadly forgotten.
Regardless of the name of it, basically he wants that with like the roots entwining around his fingers on his right hand.
Cool.
Or his right arm, like entwining around and the roots going down to his fingers and entwining around them.
Right. So the largest tree is the Lovnus tree.
Okay. That
so
thing.
You want to get the Lovnus tree? She kind of chuckles at first. And then she says, and where do you want this?
Does the Lovnus tree mean something I should know about before I go any further than this?
Do you ask her?
Yes!
Well, you didn't seem like the outdoorsy type, and you're a bit too large to be a gnome, so I do find it curious.
Fair enough.
Gnomes think them to holy, and most the farmers from the glade think them special. But you're a very large creature, and it's a very large tree, so I think it's fitting all the same.
We'll just stick with the Phantom. We'll just keep it simple. Stop overthinking things.
She pats you on the shoulder, and she's like, "Don't be nervous. I can make it work. We can make it fit your personality a little bit better." And she begins to start working on it. And she makes this design, and she like practices it on a canvas. And at this point, the sun is like fully set. You guys have spent like most of the afternoon here, and she gets this. What she draws is this tree with these roots that kind of come all the way down, and they wrap around the star symbol at the bottom of it. And these tree branches kind of come up, and you see in the branches she has like tied in these what look like blades, like these axes and daggers and swords, kind of like woven into the branches. Um, and she says, as she shows you the design, she's like, to me, you seem powerful and you seem confident, and this is how I translate that. I can work up something else too, but with a
Nope.
tree,
I mean, that seems perfectly fine.
sure.
Yes.
All right.
What does Feghrin think about all this?
I look at I don't know why you're asking that, but Ross was
No,
curious.
I was just asking that because see, you're doing this number. It looks like
always
you're
do
trying
that.
to keep. You're trying to. Okay, well never mind.
But I'm looking. So it's like a tree going into the hand, and then what else is happening?
So it starts with a star, and it's got like these tree roots tied around the star, and then the tree roots grow up into a tree, and then the branches kind of branch out, and there's like weaponry like tied into the branches.
Okay.
And not for Ross, but does it work for Kulroki? I think so.
No. I'm just curious. Interesting.
But Kulroki, this is your tattoo. You make it look like what you want to look like.
I mean, if we let me like Mason try and decide something, we're gonna be here all night long because like I have analysis paralysis, so this is perfectly fine.
All right. I mean, we can also decide how fast Dragonboard scales fall off, and we can.
Yeah, okay. If I don't like this, I'm just like, oh, I shed the scales on my arm for some random reason. That's the only scales that fall off, and then all of a sudden problem solved.
Yeah. So what color do you want? Do you have anything in mind?
I didn't have anything in the top of my head. I'm assuming tree colors, but like, is there no blue dragonborn or lizardborn? Lizard folk, as Floki continues to insist. Yeah, just whatever color she thinks would work best.
All right. She pulls out this like this cyan, this teal, and this like bright lime. Begins to like shake the pigments and kind of spills them all out on this canvas. She uses that same pronged like implement that she used for Doros. Begins to very uncomfortably lift and not quite remove, but like dislodge some of the scales around the area, so she can contain inks and pigments from leaking everywhere. And it's not fun, but I imagine it's equally as enjoyable as any tattoo would be. And she begins the process. And it takes her just a moment longer. And at this point, I think it would be clear that she didn't charge Floki. She charged everyone else. She didn't charge Floki. But she finishes up with yours. At this point, it's like fully nighttime. And she sets down the implement and she begins to start flexing her. And she takes a deep breath. She goes, I think that's as good as it gets. And she kind of places her finger on your like one last scale and kind of snaps it back into place. And she kind of looks at it. And as she holds it up to you in this mirror, you can tell that like the scales have taken that color and enhanced it with your natural blue. These bright greens and blues perfectly blend in a way where he has used your natural scale pattern to make it actually look like bark along the tree, and has used illusion of light and color refraction to make it look so natural that it almost looks like your arm might be made of wood in areas. And she says, hopefully that serves you well.
I kind of look at her like expecting a price, Like, I mean, I say, it's great. I love it. It's, the best tattoo I've ever seen.
Honestly, I've made enough already. 12. 12 just to cover the time.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. I mean,
Are
I'm
you,
not going to argue.
are you sure you like it? Because we can.
I really like it.
Okay. All
He's
right.
like flexing his hands and his arms, like looking at it.
You can tell that she is quite exhausted. Her hand is just cramping. And you can see like visible pain on her. And she goes, "Well, thank you all. I have a date with Derek. Um, feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. But if anyone comes here, I don't know any of you." She slashes her back on her shoulder, looks at each of you, and unless you have anything else to say to her, she's going to leave.
Hold on
I mean, I
there,
don't.
Grace. I, these tattoos are incredible. It's the best work I've ever seen by a tattoo artist. Where did you learn to do this?
She kind of looks at each of you. Having spent the whole day, she feels a little more comfortable sharing. She says, "There's a college on Targoa. Um,
Wow.
they teach all types of art, and I learned there."
Well, we don't want to keep you, but, we're, not from around here. This is our first time in Mudport. And, where do you think we could maybe learn a little bit more about, the city? Person gets a bit nervous nowadays with what happened yesterday.
She looks past you and looks at the mural on the wall. She says, "I wish I could tell you about the city. Never been. I could tell you about Targoa. That's besides this rinky-dink place. That's the only place I've ever been."
What about Mudport?
That's what she meant by rinky-dink place. But she says, "Yeah, we got seafood for days. If you're into that mud tasting flop, then we got some of that. But there's not a lot to be known." You see her kind of like pause for a moment, kind of set down her bag because it's quite heavy, and she takes a deep breath and uh, I'm not as well off as some other people around here. In fact, I've had some pretty hard times since parents left, and once Marcy left, it has been kind of hard getting by. But Derek says soon enough I'll get my approval and I can finally start building what I've been saving up for and make myself a proper home and a proper business, and then I'll be set. And who cares if it's built on a foundation of mud? I would have made it myself.
Is this approval perhaps coming from the city council over in Deepstone?
She looks at the mural and kind of nods.
We happen to know some people on that council, and this is quite a business. I think you could really make a difference over there in Deepstone. On the main alley, I think it'd fit right in. We could put in a word for you, if it's of any help.
I mean, if you could speed up this process, that'd be fantastic, but I'd actually prefer it to be on this side of the lagoon. Consider it pride.
I see. Have there been any, one last thing, Grace. Have there been any other sailors coming through here, especially dwarves?
She looks at Dorful and looks at you. She's like, "Aye."
other than him?
I
Hypothetically, people who may have kidnapped our friends who may go by the name Marauders.
Lando's crew hasn't stopped by in quite a while. I think they've been. She kind of puts her bag back on. Occupied for a while. But yeah, those Metalbeards, they do stop by from time to time. They don't cause much trouble. They just take some food for free and leave.
I don't suppose you happen to know where, or know of someone who may know where they may be hiding out in these parts? Parts being islands?
She kind of puts her bag back down again, realizing that she's going to stay a little bit longer with some more
I'm
conversations.
sorry to keep you, but it's like I can't imply we got some friends.
She looks out the window at the night sky at this point, and she says, "Yeah, I have somewhere to be, but yeah, I think I overheard something about Bayakava, so check there."
Alrighty.
You know, other people are a bit more. She puts her bag back on, forthcoming with their information. She looks at you, Floki.
Yeah, well, information flows when it wants to.
Right. Well, thank you all for the business. And she starts to walk out.
Have fun with Derek. Where's Bayakava? Have an old man moment.
I think it's an island.
Rhonda's like,
So too.
Loki's correct. It is an island. It'd be northeast from here.
Oh, so now we have two possible leads. They might be headed to Bayakava, or they could be at Splinter Dish. Rhonda, is it possible to set a pilotage on the way through Splinter Dish or Bayakava to one to the other?
Splinter Dish is right outside the island, so probably stop there first, but...
Aye. Well, then, when we meet up with Captain Tulu, we should do that.
I have a feeling that Splinter Dish might be more of a kind of public office situation, and Bayakava maybe a hideout that they prefer to keep more private. Or at least if I were them, I wouldn't put all my cards in Splinter Dish.
Yeah, Bayakava is known for a few things. One of it being a genie. Bit of a over-eccentric showman, you could call him. But other than him being... Actually, it kind of makes a good hiding spot. Constant storms on the whim of a genie, then you could pay him off and have an easy time in and out while everyone else struggles.
Aye.
Well,
Well, we
there's
should...
also rumors of more stuff coming from Bayakava.
More stuff.
Right, well, a genie came, and he didn't come alone, what they say.
What do you
Don't
tell
know.
us?
Could be more
You don't
Neverborn.
know.
I'm not sure.
Aye, Neverborn. That's right. Like that one, yes. Well, we should head back to Deepstone. Find out what the council decided and get ready to load up with the crew and Captain Tulu.
Yeah, we should head out. It is getting a bit late, and there's that pre-storage we gotta catch.
Everyone who wasn't there kind of like looks at each other and they're really confused. But yeah, you guys leave for a little shack, head across back through the mud, and find your dwarf ferryman who is fast asleep on his little dinghy. Wake him up, sail back over, and that is where we'll end for the night.
Clue, is that, can I see that, your hand?
Who are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I show it to him.
That is some of the finest tattoo work I've ever seen. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Why, wasn't such a bad idea then, was it?
I'll regret it once I become sober tomorrow, but
Ah,
right now, no.
sometimes you can stave that one off a little longer, too.